from the top of a lighthouse which is 100-meter high. Children, they have given you the height of the lighthouse. How much it is? 100 meters. So let me draw the lighthouse over here. AB. Okay. AB is the lighthouse whose height is 100 meters. The angle of depression of two ships. Johan, pin drop silence. Pay attention over here. The angle of depression. The angle of depression of two ships are observed as 48 and 36 degree respectively. So children, whenever the term angle of depression comes, you should understand that the observer is standing at some height, or he is standing on the top and he is looking at the objects which are on the ground surface, or in this particular case, they are talking about ships. So instead of ground level, it is sea level. Okay. So from top, he is looking somewhere down. So children, how can we draw the figure? Sit next to Sia. Yeah. So children, here is the observer. He is standing on top of the lighthouse. From the top of the lighthouse, he is looking at a ship C over here. All right. And from the top of the lighthouse, he is looking at another ship, which is D. Now, children, let me consider the case where the ships are on the same side of the lighthouse. For the time being, I'm focusing only on case number 1. What is case number 1? There are two ships, but both the ships are on the same side of the lighthouse. That means when I'm drawing the figure, either the two ships C and D should be shown on the right-hand side of the lighthouse, or you can show both the ships C and D on the left-hand side of the lighthouse. You show it on the right-hand side or the left-hand side, that does not make any difference. All right. So children, let me draw the second ship, which is over here at point D. And this observer is looking at the second ship. This is the line of sight. So what is AC? Yes. But I didn't teach this, no? So I thought I will start from the scratch. Some of the students were not able to solve this. Okay. Now, C and D are the two ships which are on the same side of the lighthouse. In my diagram, it is lying on the right-hand side of the lighthouse. Okay. Now, children, let me draw the angles of depression here. So for drawing angle of depression, you need an imaginary horizontal line. Since the observer is standing on top of the lighthouse, from the point A, from that point A, you have to draw the imaginary horizontal line. So the blue colored line which I have drawn happens to be the imaginary horizontal line. Now children, what is the first angle of depression? 48 degree. And the second angle of depression is what? 36 degree. Now some students find it a little confusing to represent the angle of depressions. Whether this angle should be 48 or this angle should be 36. Those kind of confusions will happen. For that, just to get rid of that confusion, I have taught you a method. Children, more the distance of the ship from the lighthouse, lesser will be the angle of elevation or angle of depression. Isn't it? You are moving away from the lighthouse, the angle of depression or the angle of elevation will go on decreasing. Isn't it? The more you are closer to the lighthouse, the more will be the angle of depression or angle of elevation. So here, which ship is further or more far from the lighthouse? It is ship D. That means its angle of depression should be lesser. Isn't it? More is the distance of ship D from the lighthouse, lesser should be the angle of depression. So this angle I can take as what? 36 degrees. Is that clear? This ship C, the ship C is what? Closer to the lighthouse. When it is closer to the lighthouse, more should be the angle of depression. It's just the opposite, children. Closer to the lighthouse, more is the angle of depression. Far from the lighthouse, less is the angle of depression. It's just the opposite. Okay. So here, I can represent this angle as how much? 48 degrees. Okay. Did you all follow it? Otherwise, also, children, when you draw the diagram, you can see, isn't it? This angle is more and this angle is less. The greater angle will be 48 and the lesser angle will be what? 36. There are different techniques in which you can make the predictions, which is 36 and which is 48. If you go with the first method, that is quite technical. You are far away from the lighthouse, the lesser is the, more is the distance from the lighthouse, less is the angle of depression. Less is the distance from the lighthouse, more is the angle of depression. It's just the opposite. I keep repeating the statements just to get it stored in your head, children. Okay, don't feel bad just because I keep repeating the statements. Okay, you repeatedly listen to something and it gets stored in your head. That is the only purpose of repeating my statements. This part is clear. Now, let me connect B to C and then C to D. All right, where angle B is equal to how much? 90 degrees. Children, if this whole angle is equal to 48, if this whole angle is equal to 48, just because the two horizontal lines are parallel to each other, the alternate interior angles will remain the same? Yes. So if this angle is equal to 48, the alternate interior angle C will also be equal to 48. If this angle is equal to 36, the alternate interior angle will also be what? 36 degrees. Okay, conceptually it is correct. C is closer to the lighthouse, more is the angle of depression. D is far from the lighthouse, lesser is the angle of depression. Okay. Now, children, the diagram is ready. Now they are asking us to find the distance between the two ships in the nearest meter. Children, this nearest meter thing we will do in the last step. Don't have to bother about it right in the beginning. First, you find out what is the distance between the two ships. All right. First, you find out the distance between the two ships. So what is the distance between the two ships? I think it is the value of CD, isn't it? C is the first ship, D is the second ship. If you are asked to find the distance between the two ships, you have to get the value of CD. And how can you get the value of CD? That is quite easy. Children, the value of CD can be found by subtracting the whole of BD and BC. Don't you agree with this? First, you find out how much is the value of BD. Then you find out how much is the value of BC. If you subtract the bigger and the smaller value, that is BD and BC, the remaining portion will be what? CD. All right. Children, those who have already solved the sum, please repeatedly do it in your book. Okay. Just draw the diagram which I am drawing, and along with all these statements. All right. Satyan, are you doing it? Okay. So the first triangle, which is A, B, C. This angle is how much? 48 degree. AB is how much? 100 meters. This angle is how much? 90 degree. We need to get the value of BC. So children, this is your reference angle. 48 degree is your reference angle. So with reference to 48 degree, AB will be opposite, BC will be adjacent. Which trigonometric function? Opposite and adjacent? Tan function. So let's do it for tan 48 degrees. This will be equal to opposite AB upon adjacent BC. Please use the table and tell me how much is the value of tan 48. How much is the value of tan 48? Hi, Maria. Take out the log table. How many of you didn't bring the textbook? Why? Arthur took your textbook. Where is Arthur? Good. Where? No, leave it. How much is tan 48? Can somebody help me? Amal, Maria. How much it is? Just a minute. I'll discuss about it. What is it? All right, 1.1106, which is equal to AB, which is 100 divided by BC. Now, children, if you notice, this is a pure case of division of a 2-digit number with a 4 decimal digit number. Do you want to go with this method? No, isn't it? So that very moment itself, children, you will skip this step. You will skip this step. Now you write it, you got to know that you have to do divisions. So you are going to skip that step. Just put a cross mark over there. The examiner who is correcting your paper, he will understand that the child realized she has to do division of two numbers, which is very time consuming. So she cancelled it. And then she went for the alternative method. And what is the alternative method, children? The concept of complementary angles. If this angle is 48, how much will be the second acute angle? Exactly 90 minus 48, which is equal to 42 degrees. All right, Maria? Okay, 42 degrees. Now, instead of taking tan 48, I am going to do with tan 42 degrees. So this is the new reference angle, children. This is the new reference angle. Now let us find out how much is going to be tan 48. Dona will answer. With reference to this angle, 42 BC upon AB, isn't it? First, you mention the name of the sites and then you do the substitution. I think here you won't face any problem, isn't it? Because tan 42's value you will find. Then BC is in the numerator, AB's value is 100, which is there in the denominator. So what will happen, children, in the very next step? Cross multiplication will happen, isn't it? So rather than doing division, you can rely on multiplication. Can you please help me with tan 42? 0.9004, all right, which is equal to BC upon 100. So this implies BC is equal to 100 multiplied by 0.9004. And that can be written as what? 90.04 meters. You got the value of BC. Okay. Now, let's use the second right angle triangle, which is the bigger one. That is triangle ABD. All right. So, triangle ABD. Triangle ABD. How much is angle D? Angle D was 36 degrees. AB is how much? 100 meters. Angle B is 90 degrees. And BD is what you have to find. All right. Children, will you again do the same mistake which you did in the first step? No. You know, if you take tan with reference to 36, the case of division will arise, isn't it? And nobody wants to go with that. So what you will do, instead of doing division, you will go with multiplication. And for that, you have to take the concept of complementary angles. So how much is this angle, children? 90 minus 36, which is equal to 54 degrees. Very good. Now this is your reference angle. Angel, which trigonometric function? Tan function? Go ahead. Tan with reference to 54 degree is equal to B. Opposite side is what? BD. BD divided by adjacent side AB. Somebody help me with tan 54. 1.3764, which is equal to BD divided by 100. So this implies BD is equal to the cross multiplication of 1.3764 and 100. How much it is? 137.64 meters. Online students, did you all get it? Riya, Maria, Purva, everyone got? Okay, children, I won't be, probing you guys in between. Why? Because, I always love teaching in a flow. After the sum is over, I will ask you whether you have understood it or not. Okay. Now, in case I don't ask you, you please interrupt me in the middle and ask your doubts. Solve your doubts in the middle itself and then move forward. Don't wait for the end of the session to ask your doubts. All right. So 137.64 meters. Now, we had to find what? The value of CD. How do you find the value of CD? It's BD minus BC. How much is BD? You had already found. You already found it. 137.64 minus BC is 90.04. Please subtract these two values. 47.64 meters. Now, children is not 60. All right, 47.60. Now, children, they have asked you to round off the final answer correct to the nearest meter, isn't it? Correct to the nearest meter. Now, you have to look what is the value coming after the decimal point. It is 0.60. 0.60 is greater than 0.50. Yes. So children, it will be rounded off to the next integer. Which is the next integer after 47? 48 meters. Very good. 48 meters. So this should be the final answer. Children, if they have specified in the question to round it off to the nearest meter, you have to do it. Even if you leave your answer at this point, 47.60 meters, you will be getting -1. Why? Because you didn't satisfy their question. Okay. So please remember that. Now, the first part is over. Let's do the second part. Children, now see, they are asking you find the distance between the ships when the ships are on the opposite sides of the lighthouse. Now, you know what mistake usually children do? Did somebody say something? Okay. Children, you know what mistake? No, it's not a mistake. It's a blunder. It's not a mistake. It's a blunder. What children do is they again take two reference right angle triangles. They apply the tan functions on these two reference angles, 42 and 54 degrees. And then again, they find the value of BC and BD and they add both of them. Okay, that's a very big blunder, children. You're wasting your time. Why? Because you don't have to redo everything. Okay, you don't have to redo it. I will show what exactly you must be doing in the exam if it comes. What is the scenario here? The ships are on two opposite sides of the lighthouse. So this was the lighthouse. This was the lighthouse, isn't it? Okay, I'll draw a bigger one. Yeah. This was the lighthouse, A, B. This time both the ships are on the opposite side of the lighthouse. So let me take ship C over here and let me take ship D over here. Okay. Now children, this is the first right angle triangle you must be drawing, isn't it? In the exam, you are not going to do all these things. Okay, I am explaining this sum. This is not for you to do in the exam. And this is the blunder which students do in the exam. I'm just showing it to you. Okay. Towards the end of this explanation, I'll be telling you not to do any of these things. We can wind up the answer in one single step. Okay. Please listen to me patiently. Don't be in a hurry to copy paste everything. Okay. Now, from this point A, the observer was looking at the first ship, that is point C, isn't it? What was the angle of depression? What was the first angle of depression for point C? 30? I think it was 40 something, no? 48 degrees. All right. So this angle is 48. Hence, the alternate interior angle is also 48. How much was the height of the lighthouse? 100 meters. Now, the same observer from point A was staring at ship D, isn't it? He was observing ship D. Now, how much was the angle of depression? 36 degrees. So this is the angle of depression. Alternate interior angles are equal. So this angle is also 36. Now it's quite obvious, no children. You take the first right angle triangle, which is ABC. Okay. You take the first right angle triangle ABC, where this angle is 90, this angle is 48, this side is 100 meters, and you will try to figure out how much is BC. Isn't it? You will try to figure out how much is BC, how much you will get. Definitely you are going to go with the complementary angle 42 degree and you are going to apply tan function and you will be getting BC is equal to how much? 90.04 meters. The same thing which you did in the first step. I mean the first scenario, isn't it? Then second step will be what? Taking the bigger right angle triangle over here. Triangle ABD. Triangle ABD. How much is this angle? 36 degrees. So you will be considering this angle as the reference angle. Again, you will apply tan function with reference to 54 degrees and get the value of BD. How much it was? 137.64 meters. Array children, this is exactly what you did in the first scenario, isn't it? Again, in the second scenario, why you want to repeat it? It's just a waste of time. That is why I said, don't repeat it, children. Okay, don't repeat it. You know, in the second scenario, B to C is going to be how much? 90.04. B to D is going to be how much? 137.64 meters. They are asking you to find the distance between the two ships. Where is the first ship? Over here. Where is the second ship? Over here. They are asking you to find the distance between the two ships. That means you have to get the value of CD. You have to get the value of what? CD. How will you find CD, children? Use your common sense and tell me. CD will be the sum of CB and BD, right? It will be just the sum of CB and BD. So just find the sum of these two values. 90.04, 137.64. Add both of them and you get the answer. How much it is? 227.68 meters. Any doubt, children? So in the examination, you will do only this much, what I have highlighted here. Only this much, which I have highlighted in green box. Okay, nothing more you have to do. Neither the diagram nor the calculations. Nothing you have to show. Just show CD is equal to CB plus BD. That is 227.68 meters. All right. Now, children, you have to round this off to what? The nearest meter. See the decimal value, 0.68. 0.68 is greater than or equal to 0.50, isn't it? So you can round this off to the next integer, which is 228 meters. This should be your final answer. Okay. Was that easy enough? Online students? Understood, no? Okay. Yeah. Fine, children. Arthur, understood? Afnan, Gautam, keep the camera on. Yeah, Anika, if electricity has resumed, please switch on the camera. Ron, Salim, keep the cameras on. Children, the next question. I will give you 2 to 3 minutes time. I expect you to draw the figure. Okay. Afnan, Gautam, keep the camera on. 2 to 3 minutes time I will give you. Children, there are two pillars of equal heights, isn't it? There are two pillars of equal heights. So let me draw those two pillars. And where are those pillars standing? These two pillars are standing on either side of a roadway, which is 150 meter wide. Children, they are talking about the width of the road. They are not talking about the length of the road. Okay. So here, when I draw AB, this should be assumed as the width of the road, not the length of the road. Okay. Now, the first pillar is standing at point A and the second pillar is standing at point B. Okay. Now, if you notice, I have drawn both the pillars of equal height because they only wanted us to draw two pillars of equal height. So whatever is AC, the same is BD. So let me assume AC as X. So BD will also be equal to what? X. If you want, you just assume it to be X. If you don't assume it to be X, it's not going to matter, children. Okay. Now, the next point. Children, at a point in the roadway between the pillars, I'll stop my sentence over here. At a point in the roadway between the pillars. You know what is a common mistake done by students after reading this? They get a feeling that the point that you have to take is exactly in the middle of AB. Okay, children, what is happening here? Let's just continue the sentence and understand what is happening here. At a point in the roadway between the pillars, the elevation of the top of the pillars are 60 and 30. That means you have to assume a point in between AB. You have to assume a point in between A and B, from where, if you look at point C and point D, I repeat, from some point, say for example, the point is E. Okay, From that point E, if you look at the top of AC or you look at the top of DB, the angle of elevation would be 60 degrees and 30 degrees. Okay, this is what you are supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do. But children, let me tell you what is that common mistake that children do. They get a feeling that E happens to be the midpoint of AB. After reading the sentence, a point in the roadway between the pillars. The moment they read between the pillars, they get a feeling that the point which you have to take should be the midpoint of AB. Please don't do that, children. It's absolutely wrong. They never said that the point E is the midpoint of AB. Did they ever mention it? Somewhere in between A to B, you have to take a point E. If it had to be a midpoint, they would have specified in the question itself. Are you getting it? So children, the diagram which I have drawn, it's very deceptive and I'm not going to use it. Okay, it's very deceptive for me. So what I'll do is, I will redraw this diagram. So this was AB, which is the width of the road. Then this was BD, which is the second pillar. I am going to take my reference point over here. Okay, so that I don't get confused. E is coming somewhere in between A and B, but E is not the midpoint of AB. Okay, now if I look at point D from point E, I repeat, if I look at point D from point D, the angle of elevation should be how much? 30 degrees. Children, E is the distance of point E is greater. Sorry, how should I frame the sentence? E is at a the distance of point E from BD is greater, isn't it? So the angle of elevation should be lesser, isn't it? The distance of point D from BD is greater, so the angle of elevation should be lesser. So I am taking this angle as 30 degrees. Now, let me draw the line of sight from point E to point C. Can't you see that point E is closer to AC? So the closer the point E is to the pillar AC, the higher will be the angle of elevation. So this angle can be taken as what? 60 degree. Closer, greater the angle of elevation. Far, lesser the angle of elevation. Are you getting it, children? I had given you a practical demonstration of the other day. The more and more closer you get to the object or the building, the more angle of elevation. You have to tilt your neck further, isn't it? The far you get away from the object, lesser you have to tilt your neck. That's a practical demonstration. All right, figure is ready. Now children, they had given you the width of the road. How much it was? It was 150 meters. Okay. 150 meters. Now, what is the question to be solved? Find the height of the pillars and the position of the point. Okay. Children, we will focus only on the first question, that is the height of the pillars. Okay. Let's find out the height of the pillars. That means you can find either AC or BD because both are equal in height. Let me draw the first triangle. Loka, is your doubt clear? The more closer you get, higher is the angle of elevation. Okay. A, C, E. This angle is 90. This angle is what? 60. This is X. Okay. Now, children, listen to this part very carefully. They had given you this whole of AB as how much? 150 meters, isn't it? So I will do one thing. I will just assume that from A to E, the distance is Y. From A to E, the distance is Y. So can't I say from E to B, the distance would be 150 minus Y? You all agree with this? 150 minus Y. Huh? Gopika, is it clear? The whole of AB is how much? 150 meters. If I'm assuming A to E as Y, then the balance EB will be what? The total 150 minus Y. Okay, so here I'm assuming AE as Y. Now children, with reference to this 60-degree angle, which trigonometric function you have to use? Rayan, tan function? All right. So tan with reference to 60 degree will be equal to opposite AC divided by adjacent AE. Tan 60 is how much? Root 3, which is equal to AC, which is X, and AE, which is Y. Let me put this in a box. Children, please name the equation as equation number 1, because this step will carry 1 mark. This step will carry 1 mark. Okay. Now, let's take the second right angle triangle. Which one it is? Triangle DEB. The second triangle DEB, where angle B is how much? 90 degrees. This angle is 30 degrees. Then DB is how much? X. And EB is how much? 150 minus Y. Okay. Again, which trigonometric function? I think it's the same, tan function. All right. So do it along with me, children. Tan with reference to 30 degrees equal to opposite DB divided by adjacent EB. Tan 30 is 1 by root 3, which is equal to DB, which is X, divided by EB, which is 150 minus Y. Put it within a box and label it as equation number 2. Put it within a box and label it as equation number 2. All right. Now they were asking us to find what? First, the height of the pillars. That means you have to find what? The value of X. Isn't it? You have to find the value of X. Isn't it, children? In my diagram, I have taken X as what? The height of the pillar. And that is what exactly we have to find. Okay. So children, if you are asked to find the value of X, let us do one thing. Let us express the value of Y in terms of X. First of all, let us express the value of Y in terms of X and do the substitution method. Okay. So here, from equation number 1, children, from equation number 1, we know root 3 is equal to what? X upon Y, this one. Okay. We know root 3 is equal to what? X upon Y. So if I express Y in terms of X, it would become Y is equal to X upon root 3. Joshua, is it clear? I'm expressing Y in terms of X. Now what I will do next, I will take the value of Y as X upon root 3 and substitute in equation number 2. I'll substitute in equation number 2. What is equation number 2? 1 upon root 3 is equal to X upon 150 minus Y. Okay, 150 minus Y. First of all, I'll simplify this, children. I'll just simplify this. I'll cross multiply both the sides. So 150 minus Y into 1 will be what? 150 minus Y, which is equal to root 3 into X. That will be root 3X. Into this, I will do the substitution. How much is the value of Y? Just now I said X upon root 3. Let me substitute it over here. So the equation will become 150 minus X upon root 3, which is equal to root 3X. Did you notice, children? We were able to create a linear equation in variable X because we had to find the value of X. Any doubt so far? No doubt? Okay. Now, let's bring the variables on the same side of the equation. See here, isn't it? Arrange the variables on the same side of the equation and the constants on the other side of the equation. So this should be looking like 150 is equal to root 3x minus x upon root 3. When it goes to the other side, it becomes plus x upon root 3. Simplify this. 150 is equal to, Donna, what should I do next? LCM method. What is the LCM? Root 3 is the LCM. Very good. Now root 3 into root 3 is what? 3. So 3x plus Root 3 upon root 3 is 1. 1 into x is what? X itself. Therefore, 150 is equal to 3x plus x is what? 4x divided by root 3. Now you got to find the value of x. Let's bring 4 upon root 3 to the left hand side. Okay, let's bring 4 upon root 3 to the left hand side. So how can we do that? 150 into root 3 divided by 4. Okay, did you follow this step? How I got root 3 by 4? No, isn't it? From your face, I can understand that. Children, listen to this part. You have 150 is equal to 4x upon root 3, isn't it? That means 150 is equal to 4 upon root 3 into x. Okay, did you follow this? Huh? Now, if you bring this 4 upon root 3 from the right to the left hand side, what will happen? The reciprocal of 4 upon root 3, isn't it? So it becomes 150 into root 3 divided by 4, which is equal to x. Anju, is it clear? Now, online students, any doubt? Please ask. No doubt? Oh. So here, can we simplify this further? 2 2s are and 2 into 75s are, isn't it? So are we getting x is equal to 75 root 3 divided by 2? Am I right, children? Okay. Let's do it further. Children, do this. 75 into root 3 is what? 1.732 divided by 2. Just do this. Children, I would recommend you to simplify it this way. 2 ones are and 2 into 0.866. Isn't it? So 75 into 0.866. Whatever is the product, that is the height of the pillar. Okay. Children, I just saw 1.732. And you know that 1.732 is what? Divisible by 2. That's why I directly simplified it. Rather than multiplying 75 with 1.732 and then dividing it by 2. That would have become a little more tedious for you. Okay. Albina, is it clear? Clear? Sean, Nabil, Etasham, everyone, clear? Joshua, clear? All right. Jaren, is clear? Joanne? God, what is the answer? How much? 64.950. All right. So you just need to round it off to 2 decimal places. No, children. Because here, what is the unit? Meter. In meter, how many centimeters? 100 centimeters. Only 2 zeros are there. So only 2 decimal figures are required. Okay. So 64.95 meters. Have they asked us to round it off? No. Since they haven't asked us to round it off to the nearest whole number or the nearest integer, you should just leave the answer as it is, 64.95. Okay, fine. Now, children, if you have got the value of x, you should be finding the value of y even. Why? Because they were asking us what is the distance of this point from the pillars. Did you notice the second part of the question? You had to find the position of the point. Now listen to this part. All of you stop doing and listen to this. I'll draw one more extra figure. Children, this was the figure which we had drawn, isn't it? 2 pillars of equal size. You had a point lying somewhere over here, which is point E. They are asking you, what is the position of that point E? Look here. What is the position of that point E? When they ask you, what is the position of point E, they are in fact asking you, what would be the distance of this point E from A, or what would be the distance of point E from B? This is what you have to find. So either you find the distance of AE or you find the distance of EB. Children, both should be getting marks. Either you find the distance of AE or you finding the distance of EB. For both, you should be getting marks. Why? Because they never specified the position of E from which pillar. Whether it is from pillar AC or from pillar BD. Have they specified it? No, they haven't specified it. They have generally asked you what is the position of E. That means you can get the distance of point E from the first pillar AC, or you can get the distance of point E from the second pillar BD. Either of these two you can find. Okay. So children, in this case, if you want to find the value of AE, I think I had assumed AE as what? Y. Isn't it? I had assumed AE as what? Y. And what is Y, children, in terms of X? It is X upon root 3. Okay. So let me find Y. Y will be what? X upon root 3. Now, how will you find X upon root 3? Children, now this is the highlight of this question. If you plan to take the decimal value of X, you are going to have a very tough time. Okay. If you're going to take the value of X as 64.95 and substitute it over here, like the 64.95 divided by root 3, you're going to have a very tough time. I will never suggest you to take this. Okay. But still, you have to find the solution. So what is the alternative to this? Children, the alternative is you already knew the value of X is what? 75 root 3 divided by 2, where you have a root 3 in that number. Isn't it? Where you have a root 3 in that number. Why don't we take that value, 75 root 3 upon 2, whole divided by root 3. Now, will it be comfortable for you to find the answer? Now it is comfortable for you, right? Let's do it. Children, what will happen? 75 root 3. You do it. I'll give you 1 minute time. Get me the answer. I'll come to your place. Do this calculation. So what they are saying here, the angle of elevation of the top of a tower is observed to be 60 degrees. At a point 30 meter vertically above the first point of observation, the elevation is found to be 45 degrees. Find the height of the tower. Second thing we will look after later. Okay, find the height of the tower. So the angle of elevation of the top of a tower. Let me first of all draw the tower over here. Let this be the tower. Okay, AB. AB is the tower. What's happening here, children? The angle of elevation of the top of the tower. That means they are talking about point A, isn't it? AB is the tower, where A is the top and B is the foot. They are talking about the angle of elevation of the top of the tower. That means from some point, children, from some point, say for example, point C, if I look at the top of the tower, then the angle of elevation should be how much? 60 degrees. Now, at a point, children, at a point 30 meter vertically above the first point of observation, the elevation is found to be 45 degrees. Now, this is the catch of the question. Okay, if you understand this part, the rest of the things are going to be very simple. Okay, let's read that sentence once again. At a point which is 30 meter vertically above of whom? The first point of observation. Where was the first point of observation? It was at point C, isn't it? So 30 meter vertically above point C. That means I can plot a point D over here, where the distance from C to D is 30 centimeters. Makes sense, no, children? Divide the sentences into smaller fragments so that you can understand the concept. All right, understand the meaning of the question. So where was the first point of observation? At point C. From that point C, vertically above 30 centimeters. So I plotted a point D and I showed you that C to D is how much? 30 centimeters. Now they want us to observe from this point D to the top of the tower. And how much is the angle of elevation? It is 45 degrees. And you all know whether you have to show the angle of elevation or you have to show the angle of depression. Joanne and Jaren, please go and stand in that corner. Go and stand in that corner. I'm explaining something on the board, right? Get up, stand in that corner. Yeah. So from this point D, you are supposed to look at point A. But children, if you have to show or label the angle of elevation, you need to have the imaginary horizontal, isn't it? You need to have the imaginary horizontal. So let me take DE as the imaginary horizontal, and so that I can show you the next angle of elevation, which is 45 degrees. Did you get two right angle triangles here? Yes. Which are the two right angle triangles? One is the big right angle triangle ABC, and the second one is the smaller right angle triangle AED. Isn't it? Am I able to convince you? Huh? Fine, children. Online students, please ask your doubts. No matter how silly it is, I'll be happy to solve your doubts. Please ask me, children. Okay. Even if it is y angle E is equal to 90 degree, if you still didn't understand, you ask me so that I can teach you repeatedly. Okay. Yeah. Now, what was the question? Find the height of the tower. Height of the tower means you have to get this value AB. That is the height of the tower, right? Okay. Children, again by using the properties of a rectangle, you know that in a rectangle, the opposite sides are equal. So if you know, if DC is equal to 30 centimeter, then EB will also be equal to how much? 30 centimeter, because opposite sides are equal. They were asking us to get the value of AB, isn't it? But children, out of AB, you have already got the value of EB, which is 30. Now, you just need to find the value of AE. You do that and you get the answer, isn't it? Now, children, how to get the value of AE? A very big question. So what I'll do is, for your reference, I will draw both the right angle triangles here. First, I will draw the bigger right angle triangle, which is ABC. Okay. I will draw the big right angle triangle ABC. Don't try to do this sum, children. First, you learn this because the upcoming sums are of similar nature. Then I'll ask you to do on your own. You learn it from me. How much is this angle? 60 degrees, right? Yeah. Then AB. Children, I'll do one thing. I'll just assume AE is equal to X. Okay? AE is equal to X. So what will be the whole of AB? The whole of AB will be X plus 30. All right. Then let me use the second right angle triangle, which is the smaller one. That is AED. Triangle AED. This angle is 90. AE is equal to how much? We just assumed it as X. Then this angle is how much? 45 degrees. All right. Now, children, I have a question for you. You know that BCDE is a rectangle. You all know that. Opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. Can't I say whatever is the value of BC, the same will be the value of ED, because opposite sides are equal. So if I assume, Joshua, did you follow this part? If I assume BC is equal to Y, automatically ED will also become Y, isn't it? So in these two diagrams, can't I represent or can't I label BC and ED as Y each? I can do this. Okay. I'm trying to just simplify your calculations, children. Okay. By taking variables. Now, with reference to this angle 60 degrees, with reference to this angle 60 degrees, what is AB? Opposite. What is BC? Adjacent. So it is tan with reference to 60 degree, which is equal to opposite AB divided by adjacent BC. Tan 60 is how much, Alvin? Tan 60? Root 3. So root 3 is equal to AB. How much was AB? X plus 30, isn't it? X plus 30 divided by BC is Y. So leave it like this, children. As and when required, we will utilize this. But please don't forget to label its equation number. Okay. Root 3 is equal to X plus 30 upon Y. Understood? That is also correct. Now, children, the next right angle triangle, this one. Again, opposite is given, adjacent is given. So you are going to use what? Tan function. Sandra, any doubt, Sandra? No. So tan with reference to 45 degree is equal to opposite AE upon adjacent ED. Tan 45 is what? 1. AE. How much is AE? X. And ED is how much? Y. So this is your second equation. Please label it, children. If you want to get 1 mark each, just label it. Huh? Now, let me identify which side I had to find, the height of the tower. So I think in order to get the height of the tower, I just needed to get the value of X. So what I will do, I will express Y in terms of what? X. Jaren, Joanne, did you follow what I said? I will express Y in terms of X. So children, which equation you want me to take from equation number 2? All right. So from equation number 2, if I cross multiply, I will get Y is equal to what? X. Make sense? So children, let's take the value of Y as X and substitute it into the first equation. What is the first equation? It is root 3 is equal to X plus 30 divided by Y. From here, I am not going to help you. I'll give you 2 minutes to solve it. Monesh, what did I ask you to do now? Huh? Start doing it. Start doing it, children, only 2 minutes. Offline students, I'm coming to your place to check your calculations. I'll just do this calculation in 2 minutes, okay? So yeah. Root 3 is equal to X plus 30 upon Y. I asked you to replace the value of Y as X. So you get X plus 30 divided by Y is what? X. You will cross multiply X to the left-hand side. So you're supposed to get root 3 into X, which is root 3X, which is equal to X plus 30, right? Huh? Root 3 into X is root 3X. Albina, root 3X is equal to X plus 30. Now let's bring this X from the right to the left-hand side. So you get root 3X minus X, which is equal to 30. Children, root 3X minus X is not root 2X. Okay, or it is not 2X. Please understand, children. You are supposed to take X as a common factor in such a situation. So if you take X as a common factor, you will get root 3 minus 1 inside the bracket. Okay, now you have to get the value of X. So what you must be doing? Not rationalization. First you bring root 3 minus 1 from the left to the right hand side. So it becomes root 3 minus 1, isn't it? Now you all know root 3 minus 1 is what? It is an irrational number. It is quite difficult for simplifying or solving irrational numbers. So we have learned a method in class 9. What is that method? Rationalization of the denominator. So the rationalizing factor would be what? Root 3 plus 1. Sean, listen to me. Now, the numerator will become 30 into root 3 plus 1 divided by. Now, what is root 3 minus 1 into root 3 plus 1? Is a minus b into a plus b, which is nothing but a square minus b square, isn't it? A square minus b square. So root 3 square is what? 3 minus 1 square is what? 1. So you get 30 into root 3 plus 1. Arthur, did you find the solution? Divided by 3 minus 1 is what? 2. Now children, can't we cancel 2 and 30? Yes, we can cancel 2 and 30. Gopika? Yeah. So 15 into root 3 plus 1. Gopika, this way you can cancel. Okay. See this 2 and 30. I'm cancelling it. Okay. Now 15 into root 3 plus 1. Children, what is the value of root 3? 1.732. So I can replace it with 1.732 plus 1, which is equal to 15 into, what is 1.732 plus 1? 2.732. And if you multiply these two numbers, what you are supposed to get? 40.98 meters. No need to put that extra 0 because you need only 2 decimal figures, right? So 40.98 meters. Very good. Now, children, you got the value of this portion, 40.98 X value. But you had to get the value of AP, which is the height of the tower, isn't it? How will you get the height of the tower? Just by adding 40.98 and 30 meters. And hence your answer becomes 70.98 meters. This is your answer. If somebody asks you to round it off to the next whole number, the answer should have been 71 meters. Okay, here they haven't asked you, so no need to write it. Okay, fine, children. Let's do the last part. What is the time? We have 6 more minutes. Easily we can do. Let's find its horizontal distance from the points of observation. Children, let's find the horizontal distance from the points of observation. Whose horizontal distance we have to find? Oh, I think it is the distance BC, isn't it? Huh? BC is what we have to find. No, that is the horizontal distance between the tower and the point of observations. Children, whether you find BC or ED, what is it? It is the horizontal distance from its point of observation. How many point of observation you had in this case? Only 2, isn't it? One is C and the other one is D. So whether they are asking you to find the horizontal distance from the point of observation C or from the point of observation D, both are same, no children, because C and D, they both are lying in the same vertical line, isn't it? So the horizontal distance remains the same. I think they are asking us to find the value of y, children, because yeah, they are asking us to find the value of y. I think y is equal to x, isn't it? So 40.98 is the answer. How many have you got? Very good. You got it? Otherwise, you will get it from me. Okay, good job, children. Online students also got, no? Afnan, please relog in, ma'am. Priya, Arthur, Janice, you all got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Harini, very good. Yeah. Purva, Maria, everyone got it. Okay. Anika, Joel, Ron, Amal, Afnan, did you follow it? Got it? Okay. You want to do one more sum? Wait. Hey, hello. Listen. Let me check what is the next question. All right. We will wind up, sir. We'll wind up. Okay. Now listen. Before you all log out, children, listen to me. Hello. Listen.